outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line.
Do not forget. Expect us.
This is a message to all supporters. A message to all freedom fighters, to all dissenters, to all forgotten. A call to all intellectuals, to all journalists. A call to all freethinkers. A call for intelligence. This is a call to all poets. A call to the strong and the weak. A call to all young people. To the wise, to the astucious. We want you to join us. We are on the streets of Tokyo. In the skyscrapers of New York. In the lanes of Paris. In the cellars of Munich. On Moscow's icy places. On the cobbled streets of Dublin. This is a call to all people. To the youth. Join us in the fight for freedom of information. Search for us, and you will find us. We are among you. We are you. Everyone you speak with can be a member of Anonymous. We have no leaders, only an orientation. We have no targets, only results. You cannot stop us, because we are an idea. We cannot be eliminated, because we are invisible. If you try to mock us, we will mock ourselves. If you try to slander us, we will accept the defamation. We are the king's gestures with daggers. We are the dancing bear which tears to pieces the laughing mob. We are anonymous. We are legion. We do not forgive. We do not forget. Expect us, just as we expect you.
we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex.
We're live.
Okay.
Let me just fix our browser.
Okay, thanks everyone for listening again. So there were some breaking developments today, so we had to go live real fast about this, just to get like the full picture out about the situation there. So the thing is, the U.S. government is now trying to bring Jeremy Hammond in front of a jury, the grand jury, the Assange grand jury, to testify against Julian Assange and WikiLeaks. As most people know, they tried to do the same thing with Chelsea Manning, and they failed with that. She refused, and that's why she is imprisoned right now. So now they're trying their second bet, Jeremy, and we're sure they will fail again. But it matters a lot that we actually talk a little about this, and also why, in fact, this might be happening right now, because we do know a little about this. We have a lead, so to speak, into why they are choosing Jeremy. And so this special will be all about that. And please share, and so we get the word out.
Yeah, this is starting to get ridiculous, because now it was first Chelsea, and that's double jeopardy from a military court, which she's already done time for, and she refuses to testify and will be charged most likely by the time she gets out of jail, or when this thing comes out, she'll have charges of around $500,000. I believe they're charging her, I think it's $1,000 a day for each day she doesn't testify. Well, and if this goes on for a year, $365,000. Most likely she's going to be under there until the investigation's over, which won't be anytime soon. And the worst part is that Jeremy is also one of us. Most of the new Anons don't really realize that Jeremy was an Anon. If you guys don't know that, and he was also with the Chaos Computer Club, right? As well.
Yeah, and he gets a lot of support from CCC for sure. But yeah, like you're saying, he was like one of the most active Anons back then, and did a lot. Yeah, I'm not that guy. He's been convicted for certain stuff, but like without like calling him out on his actions. He did a lot of work to expose the corrupt.
Oh yeah, Jeremy knew exactly what he was doing when he stole all the credit cards, and he was donating federal employees credit cards to donations all around the world, because he was a true anarchist. When convicted, Jeremy didn't deny any of it. Jeremy said he did all of it. Especially with the whole Stratford hack.
Yeah, he is an aggressive anarchist. I mean, like in the good sense.
Yeah,
he speaks out against the government corruption, and he openly does it. He wasn't scared of doing it,
and he knew exactly he was going to go to jail, and he wasn't afraid.
No, exactly, and we all, of course, respect him a lot for that. And it is sad that they are now trying to pressure him with the same stuff that they used against Chelsea.
Yeah. This is bad, because I know Jeremy's supposed to get out, I think, sometime next year. He's in federal prison, so they do 80% of his time. I think he was sentenced 10 years, so he's going to do 8 years, which he was arrested and he was convicted in 2012. Yeah, next year. So if Jeremy will not comply, knowing, I don't know him personally. There are people that we know that do know him on a more intimate level. I personally don't, but knowing from reading about him and what he's done, he will not testify at all. I don't know. Do you agree with that?
I agree with that. He won't. He won't do it, and they can't force him to do either. They he's done his time, and he's been open about what he did. Like you said, he didn't hide anything. He's an activist, and he feels, and like we do too, that what he did is actually was in favor of a free society and of all our freedoms, and was actually doing good work, not work to be ashamed for. And I don't think the U.S. government can pressure him in any way to do this. And even though they will probably do similar things as they did to Chelsea, that they will probably threaten him with financial stuff, and they will like hold him or whatever. I don't think he will do it. No.
Yeah. Yeah, he was. I remember he has a friend who's been RTing him information to retweet for him on the Free Jeremy Hammond's and updates, and he's still very vocal. He's still very anarcho mentality, and he was speaking out against the current stuff in that are going on in politics, and he's still doing it, and that's the Jeremy that I've always read about. He's very consistent, and he's not going to bow down to any subpoena from the United States government for a crime he's already done. And not only that, this is the weird part about the DOJ that's going on right now in the United States. Both of these characters, both of these people have, Chelsea's already done her time for the crime. Jeremy's still doing his time. And now he will be subpoenaed and asked about the crimes that he has done while he's still serving time on the crime. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't have a lawyer that I can just. Well, I do actually, but not on the show. Not in the time frame of the show to call them up. Whether it's double jeopardy, but I believe this is double jeopardy. This is kind of illegal. Almost as legal as when the IRS put people in jail for debts when we got rid of debtors prison debtors prison laws in the 1890s. But this is 100% double jeopardy, at least in my frame of eyes. And then God, I forgot where I was going with that.
No, I think you're right. I think it is double jeopardy. I mean, he's already been convicted for something. He faces time, and back then they didn't ask him about these things, and now they're suddenly going to try to use him for other things. And they're going to confront him with stuff they said he did during his time. They didn't confront him with before. I think so. I think it's like you're saying, it's double jeopardy, and that was also the case with Chelsea, by the way. So I don't get what they're trying, but it seems that they are so focused on attacking the free press, attacking WikiLeaks and Assange, that they really don't care how they get the intel.
This is our Department of Justice has gone from law and order to political kangaroo court. Basically, it basically always has been a kangaroo court. Just being real, the laws in this country have never been how should we say, and they never been exactly kosher. They never been. It's always been kangaroo court mentality. But now it just proves that our court system has no regard for its own laws and will go against its own values. And if the DOJ or the political system has a hard-on for you, they will bend the rules and the laws to prosecute whoever that they feel necessary to. And unfortunately, both what's going on with Chelsea and Jeremy, the injustice really isn't seeing the light of day that it should be.
No, and I was looking up real quick what actually is the definition of double jeopardy, and it says that the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution states that no person shall be subject for the same offense to be twice put in jeopardy of life or limb. The double jeopardy clause bars second prosecutions after either acquittal or conviction and prohibits multiple punishments for the same offense.
Yep, and this is happening for both of them.
Yeah, no, exactly. And this should be illegal. But apparently, like under because it has to do with the Espionage Act, where they have I think 18 indictments against Assange now, that they are simply circumventing this whole law just to get like the intel they need. Like, but
Yeah, but here's
how
the thing.
valid would it?
Here's the thing, though. If the United States Department of Justice was so concerned about all of these secrets, WikiLeaks and this has been going on for this. All of this has been going on. If they really wanted to arrest people, they should have done it 8 years ago. You know.
Yeah,
you're
right.
I mean, this is not something new. If they wanted to prosecute somebody for espionage, they could have done this years ago. But why now? Why now?
So I'm going to ask Jay about this, Jay Liederman, and I'm also going to invite him for like next episode we can do. I think it's too short notice to do it right now. But just like I want to know one thing, and that is, what if, like, I know for sure Jeremy is not going to comply with any of it, but what if they would get like a statement from him? How valid would it be in law? Because it is gained on like by unlawful means. Because it is like if you like threaten him, like, we're going to put you in jail for like another 10 years if you don't comply with us. Let's say they say that.
That's what they're going to do. That's literally what they're going to. They're doing that to Chelsea right now, though.
Yeah. But what then if you get like a statement from someone like that, isn't it unlawful? Because it is used by threatening with double jeopardy. It is like unlawful.
Yeah, I hate to say this to our our guests and our listeners, but you guys really should be telling your friends and family and at least inform them of who these people are and what's going on, because at my workplace, sometimes I'll talk about what's going on, my activist life, online, and I'm sorry, but it's becoming more and more apparent that these names are disappearing out of the public eye, and more people don't know what the hell we're talking about, and that's a problem. That's a real problem, because when injustice like this happens on such a major scale, where our constitutional rights are in question, freedom of speech and press, and uncovering the corruption of the government, we should really have our eyes focused, laser focused on what's going on here. Because if we let this shit slip, what's going to happen? Are we going to become another? I don't know.
No, but you're right, because it will set like a precedent for the future.
Mm-hmm.
It will happen again and again, and that's you have to stand up and you have to beat it when they start with it. You have to beat it at the start. And if you don't, then they will use it again. They will do it against others, and there are others. We have the Olabini case too, and there are others currently being attacked by a corrupt system, and
Oh yeah, Olabini is being charged with a hacking crime that he didn't even do. Even we had some guys check on Shodan to see if there were any IP logs on what they were trying to, and there were none. The Ecuadorian court has nothing on him.
No, you're right. And Olabini is a smart guy, and he has a good defense, and he will probably get away with it. He will not be I'm not too worried about it. I'm very positive, and but he needs all our support. But Olabini knows how he has to defend himself. But others, I mean, everyone is at risk now. When the system can abuse all their different aspects, and also abuse the media to attack free press in such a way, and they literally use people who are convicted, who are like victims right now of the law system, they can defend themselves against the law system. They they're sitting ducks.
Oh
And
yeah,
if
all
they
of them,
are,
all of them are incarcerated. They have nowhere to go.
No, exactly. They are like, yeah, they can defend themselves. And if these people are being used now to literally attack a free press and literally attack people like Assange and eventually all of us, because we are also going to be, we will also lose our free press, our free speech. We like people don't realize that this is like we said before. This is going to set a precedent. This is going to the big lawsuit about the extradition. I think it is in February of next year. If they win this, and they are, if we don't resist, they are. Then we will lose everything we have, because they can actually extradite people from all over the world, from every country. People that we aren't even U.S. citizens. They can extract us, put us in a U.S. jail for simply exposing corruption, for simply releasing the truth about what is going on. And in this case, it's even about releasing the fact about murder against innocent civilians in Iraq from an Apache helicopter. A murder against 2 journalists from Reuters in Iraq. This should shock everyone. There are actual innocent civilians and journalists being murdered by the military. And this was exposed by WikiLeaks. And this was exposed by Chelsea Manning, who spoke out. Chelsea Manning, she was so shocked by all of this, she had to speak out about it. She believed that she was doing a favor to all of us, that we would actually know about this. We would actually, we are going to lose our free press if we don't fight back against this.
Yeah.
We are, there's nothing else I can actually say about that. But because that simple thing should shock people enough to resist. And I don't care if you like Assange or whatever. That doesn't even have to do with any of this. It's like, yeah.
Yeah, everybody, people are trying to, change the narrative that WikiLeaks is a Russian intelligence organization. That's fucking false. Now I'm hearing more accusations that the WikiLeaks is a Mossad operation. That's not true at all either. They probably have been, and in fact, if they were a Mossad operation, they probably have better funding. So I'm just saying it's not a Mossad operation. It's not an intelligence operation. It is what it is, It's and none of the leaks on WikiLeaks were ever hacks. They were leaks. They were given to them,
Yeah, and so and we should give a little inside info about why they are actually going to Jeremy, and that has to do with mainly an article that was released by Yahoo in 2018, and it was a story where a guy who now is famous among us, Sabu, spoke. He spoke to this Yahoo group. Let me see. The story is called "Leaked Chat Logs on Hacks May Be Part of a Case Against Julian Assange." This is November 16, 2018 on news.yahoo.com by Jenna McLaughlin and Loppe B. Loppen. Yeah. So it states that in December 2011, the 2 former members of LOLSEC were discussing a new friend and partner, and that partner was named Leon Davidson. And the governments allege that this was WikiLeaks founder and CEO Julian Assange. And the article states that Assange or WikiLeaks asked LOLSEC to perform certain hacks for them. Now, Sabu is the one who claims this, and Sabu, as people know, is the person who was working with hackers, but turned out to be an FBI informant, and he kind of became famous for that. And,
what's the stupid thing is Sabu keeps on putting he keeps on putting out that thing that the reason he complied is because the FBI said that they would take away his kids, and I was like, so you gave in because the FBI threatened to take your kids away? Well, I mean, I understand where you're coming from, but still, like, when you get involved, in hacktivism and you're doing what you're doing, you kind of know that's the, you know what I mean? That's the rule, the law of the land. You know, you want to bend the rules a little bit, there are going to be repercussions, you know?
Yeah, there is something to say for that. Like, of course, if they try to take away your kids and stuff, you are more motivated to comply, so to speak. But still, you don't have to make it worse for everyone. Like,
yeah, I mean, you know what I would have done if the FBI came to me? I'd be like, fuck you, I'm not talking, just arrest me and put me in fucking jail. I don't give a fuck, I'm seeing my lawyer.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, no, exactly, of course. But also, like, you could have sent like an encrypted message to your friends that this is actually happening, and that you make like a scheme together with them to like mislead the FBI, whatever. Which I know is not like a perfectly legal thing, but you can actually discuss with them to keep you out of the sensitive stuff.
Exactly. You're like, hey man, if I'm not in this chat, like within 2 days, just know that I got arrested. You know, like. That's it.
Like, okay, we keep this op chat alive or whatever, but switch your private stuff to another chat because I know I'm being monitored now and I have to do certain stuff because they're threatening to take away my kids. Like, perfectly fine. Then just say this to your friends. They are your friends, right? I mean, like, if they were ever your friends, you would have done that. I mean, Sabu, like, think about what you actually did. I mean, oh my God. There are protocols for this. You know what you are dealing with, and you know at some point there is the risk you become like arrested. What do? Do you make their do you actually empower them more? Do you give them more and more than what they already have, or do you actually try to contain the damage? Do you make sure that your friends are away from you? I mean, you don't have to rat them all out. Fuck man.
Yeah, I know. And you know what's funny is that the judge, when he was exonerated, had commended him for getting rid of a terrorist organization cell.
Yeah.
You're calling LulzSec a terrorist organization cell? Most of their hacks, like, don't get me wrong, LulzSec does have some very talented hackers, but most of it was comedy. It was satire. It was funny. It was intended to be funny. You know?
Of course, yeah. It was like 50 days of lulz, right?
50 days of lulz.
Yeah. So, like, we already knew that they would actually do this. Like, what I just explained, this is an older article from like the end of 2018, and we knew they would be coming for Jeremy, but for them to do this like so blatantly or openly, like after they failed with Chelsea, it was like kind of like a stupid PR move. Stupid move in the sense of PR. I mean,
yeah, and you know, I'm surprised. You know, there's only a few websites that are really covered. Let me see. Hold on. Let me do another Google search. That's where most of this shit just compiles even better. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 articles. One from The Intercept, one from Sarasota, one from The Washington Post, one from Daily Beast, and one from Gizmodo. Nothing from Los Angeles Times. Oh, wait. Metro. Hold on. Nope. After no real major newspaper is covering this.
No, yeah, WikiLeaks itself published about it.
It just says on the Washington Post is a hacker linked to WikiLeaks says he's been brought to Virginia to testify. That's not true because Jeremy Hammond is in jail in Virginia. How could he be brought to Virginia? He's already in prison right? I think that's where he's in federal prison in Virginia. Am I wrong?
No, I think you're right, and I don't know that they move people around too, but I think you're right. But I know that is actually the grand jury in that district then, and that WikiLeaks is saying like it's likely the same one investigating WikiLeaks and Assange.
Oh wait, they're saying they moved into Memphis.
Okay, so that WikiLeaks actually thinks that they're convinced that it's actually the same. The same jury. That is that. also was
You know what? You know what I'm surprised is,
transhumanity.
like, Barrett's name is gonna pop up too. You know that?
Yeah.
Like maybe we should
Oh,
get
right.
Barrett on. Maybe we should get Barrett on this show soon. And talk to him because this like 2000. This is like 2012 all over again. Like what the fuck,
Message him too. I mean, it helps for people to give their opinion. I personally know that the Barrett doesn't like Assange so much, but he is a defender of free press and free speech, and I am sure that he is not very happy about the situation either. So, yeah, this is a good idea. And the Liederman, we need to ask him too, because from a law sense, he knows a little more than us too.
Yeah, this is not going to be good.
Well, you can see how desperate also the prosecutors are that they're actually trying this, because they must be aware that Jeremy is, who is one of us, who is openly an anarchist, who fights for freedom, who fights for human rights. It's like the last one you should actually contact to help you in a case against free press. Like the guy, he didn't snitch anyone. He served his time. This guy served his time 10 years, and now he's close to like 80% of it. And what are you going to do? Are you going to intimidate him or something? Like, what do you have actually against this guy? Like we said before, there is like the case of double jeopardy. You can't charge him again for stuff. And this is like the last one you would go to for this kind of stuff. I don't get it.
I don't either. I'm watching John McAfee. He spoke out today something about the U.S. government has become an asylum for the criminally insane. Yeah, that's true. I guess we have a bunch of the DOJ is insane. The current status quo is insane. The laws here don't apply. I don't know. There really are no. Didn't I speak about this like 2 years ago? 2 years ago when we first started this show, and I was more giving people the ideology behind some of our panel, and I used to speak about it a lot about the decline of an empire. The loss of sense of duty, all the signs of an empire falling, and essentially that's what we see unfolding in front of our face, in the United States, and so much so that our own Department of Justice is corrupt to the point where we can't trust them.
No, and you're also dealing with like a multifaceted system. You're dealing also with the media being fully compliant with this. Like if it was only the justice system, if it was only the army, and there would be a free press, then it wouldn't even be that problematic. You could still speak out against it. They will be called back. There will be investigations into it, and corrupt people would be replaced. But it's not like that, because the media is completely in on it, and they are part of this whole military industrial complex now. They're not even being like critical anymore. There's like the press is like completely fallen down, and there is nothing what remains. Like you're saying, the 4 or 5 articles are even writing about this. This should be going viral right now everywhere, but they're not doing it.
Yeah, that's why I'm encouraging anybody of our panel who listens, who are fans. If you're not in a non, if you like to stand up for what is right. Here's major. I know there are lots of injustices that happen every day in the court systems, but we're pretty familiar with what's going on, and our own constitutional values are in question. Here in the United States, pertaining to our First Amendment rights, and what is journalism, what is free speech. Why is our legal system collapsing in on itself, and doing double jeopardy with high profile. Oh my God, dyslexic Dave today. high profile cases, you know. I don't know. I know that Jeremy won't comply. I know that will happen. Jeremy will most likely be stuck in limbo for God knows how long. I know that the extradition hearing for Assange will happen in February. I don't know when he will be extradited. And then we have, you know, if Assange does get shipped over to the U.S., we're talking a court case that can last for a decade. And, you know, meanwhile, all of these people will still be behind bars.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right.
They'll spend 20 years before anything gets done.
Yeah. So I was going through that article, that old Yahoo article again, because it contains a lot of information about why they're searching for him. And so it is. So we were talking about the LOLSEC chat logs, right? They are like, and that they are saying that Assange was involved with talking with them, and that they were like planning hacks and all these things. And so apparently, what it literally says is the chat logs, part of a 100,000 page trove of documents currently in the Department of Justice possession, were obtained and published by independent national security journalist Emma Best. And Best tells Yahoo News the chats are part of the Justice Department's sealed files, and which the department has verified across multiple sources, including Monsegure's hard drives, that is Sabu's hard drives, and WikiLeaks' own devices. And she, Emma Best, she says that they have a fairly good idea of what Julian knew and when, he told Yahoo News. The thing is, they are mentioning a name of a person. No one can even confirm that it was actually Julian, to start.
Yeah, that's the thing with Sabu. Sabu says a lot of shit that isn't true. That's Sabu.
Yeah, no, it's like literally in the chat, they're talking about a guy named Leon Davidson. Like, no one is saying this actually.
It's not a real name. That is something Sabu would have came up with. That is 100% a fake Sabu name.
Yeah, maybe it was Sabu himself just doing this, like trolling again. Like, so yeah, that they have to rely on this stuff now to get to Assange is incredible and funny in some way, but it is very bad that they are actually behind the scenes now, probably can say it fairly certain that they are intimidating Jeremy Hammond, right? That they are saying like, if you don't comply with us, you can face more years, or you will face like financial trouble, like we did to Chelsea. That's the very bad part about this. The good thing is, the positive thing is, if you have to resort to this kind of stuff, then there is some hope for us, because this is just very weak. This is just illegal too, like with the double jeopardy thing. And this is, it shows that they have a very weak case against Assange, against WikiLeaks. So there is some hope on that part. But that people who are good people, like Jeremy Hammond, are being used for this, that is very shocking.
Yeah, this is getting ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know, when Chelsea gets out, if she gets out, you know, she's going to be in so much debt. It'll be unpayable, you know. Yeah, we're talking possibly millions of dollars, you know.
Yeah. I don't know how the bankruptcy laws work in the US, but probably she can declare like bankruptcy, and she lost these things, right? Or is that not how it works?
Yeah, they're basically, you know, Chelsea didn't have much money to begin with, so it's like when you charge $1,000 a day, that's outside most people's reach. Chelsea didn't have a lot of money, you know. Chelsea can't pay that off.
No.
And when she gets out,
she
she's going to have
shouldn't
nothing
either
to return to other than the help of her, activists and friends. She's gonna return to nothing. There's no apartment. There's nothing for her when she gets out other than the help of friends, you know?
There's one thing having being in debt or like having a big debt is not a crime. It is you're in debt to something. Many people are in debt, whether like student loans or whatever. You're in debt. It's not a crime. You can go to another country.
Yeah.
If I was Chelsea, I would go to another country. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's not a criminal record. Like you don't have to pay it, and the amount of countries that don't have any agreements with the USA is only growing. So, yeah, like it's not like you're going to be extradited for having debt. Okay, I was heard just get away from these corrupt people. Like seriously, go to Canada or something.
Yeah, I mean, typically, I don't know. Maybe Iceland might be a little better, but
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. I just see this becoming a trend, and this will be something we'll see happening more and more and more.
Well, I can only say that if they get away in February, like if they can get him successfully extradited, Assange, to the US, then we are going to face a lot of problems. Every journalist in the world is going to face a lot of problems because it means you can't expose any corruption anymore. That you can't do anything to tell the world about what is going on, and that means that accountability for governments, for the U.S. government, completely disappears. You can't hold them accountable anymore. Well, there are in most of the countries in the world these days there are whistleblower protection laws. I mean, whistleblowing is not a crime.
No, it seems we're being trolled. Somebody's calling us a libtard. Okay. Wow.
It beats me. I don't know. I don't think we were going to say it, but like, whether we call it like libtards or alt-right or Nazis or fascist enablers, we faced it all. Only thing we do is actually give like our view on this, and because Jeremy has been close to all of us, and Assange as a journalist is close to all of us still. And Jeremy will be close to us again when he comes out of jail. And these people are with us, and they fight for human rights and for free press. And that is the thing.
Oh, he's not making fun of me. He's like, oh, my bad. I'm dyslexic. It says it's Spanish.
Oh, he said libertad.
It's, libertad, not libtard. My bad.
This is freedom, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're right. But like, it doesn't matter what political flavor you have. Like left and right, you should all be embracing free.
Yeah, I was going to say we're far from the left and we're far from the right, and Anons try to stick, out of all of that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I personally I advocate for like free healthcare and all these things, but I also like
those are my personal views. But I never get them mixed up with when I'm involved in anything that's a non-related. I have my own personal beliefs, but
yeah. No, we're just talking about this subject, and that matters to both the left and the right, because if you're going to vote for someone, you want to have like an informed opinion. You want to know what you're actually voting for, and you want to know what your army, what your military is involved with, what your financial system is doing behind the scenes, and so then that matters to both sides equally. This is like, yeah, it's not like you're left for wanting to defend free press. It's not like you're right wing for wanting to defend free press. I mean. What happens to WikiLeaks is also going to happen to your lefty or your righty press. They're going to have the same rules apply to them.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, look what they've done to other whistleblowers in this country. We got Edward Snowden. We have Reality Winner. We have Matt DeHart. None of this stuff is going to turn out, I don't know.
Yeah, others, you have...
Yes.
John Kiriakou, for example.
Yeah, Reality Winner. They can't even legally talk about her case in any sort of public fashion because it's classified.
No, you're right. You're right. With reality, it's also a difficult story. She even tried to do like she tried to make it as legal and professional as possible by like leaking it.
She can't
like
talk about it. Yeah, she's under a gag order. As part of the trial.
Yeah.
She too is an American veteran too.
Yeah. And Chelsea too.
Chelsea too. This is what America does when you point out the facets and that your own government is doing bad shit, and you're the one who looks bad. You're the one who's in trouble.
Yeah. And just like I'm shocked again for them to come at Jeremy like that, because I like let's give like the statement Jeremy gave when he did his guilty plea, and he made it very clear that he was pleading guilty so that he would be able to speak freely about his actions and to move on with his life without putting anyone else in jeopardy. Because what he said was, today I pleaded guilty to one count of violating the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act. It was a very difficult decision. I hope this statement will explain my reasoning. I believe in the power of truth. In keeping with that, I do not want to hide what I did or to shy away from my actions. This non-cooperating plea agreement frees me to tell the world what I did and why, without exposing any tactics or information to the government, and without jeopardizing the lives and well-being of other activists on and offline. So this was a very powerful statement he made.
Yeah.
And he's not going to suddenly have a different statement about this. He's not going to suddenly jeopardize lives and well-being of other activists.
Yeah, he's not going to do it. Oh, God. I'm surprised that Vice isn't on this too, because Vice, I think Vice was the last person who interviewed him, right?
I'm not sure, but they've always been close to this, yeah.
Yeah, with their hacker series. Remember their hacker series that they had?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this is this is some time ago again. He's soon to have done like 80% of his time, and
he should be out next year. But now this is happening. We don't know.
Now, was the Intercept also did because you were talking about
the Intercept? Yeah, they have no. I mean, the Intercept. They ratted out their own informants for being over pressure from a subpoena. That's how Reality Winner went down. It's like a big no-no in journalism. Give up your sources.
Yeah. This used to be a big no-no. Yeah.
The
Intercept has been involved with several of these scandals, and with Reality Winner was a good example of that. But it wasn't funny because shortly after Yahoo came with that whole weird article about the leaked chats and stuff of Jeremy and Sabu and a person they call Assange, but probably not actually Assange. That Intercept came with like a funny article about Jeremy Hammond. That you can see how activist this guy actually still is.
Yeah.
That he was put into solitary confinement for hitting a guard with a door. That's what they wrote. Like, the guard was, he made accusations against Jeremy Hammond because Jeremy Hammond hit him with a door. The guard claims that Hammond hit him with a door, stood his ground, and pushed his shoulder into the guard.
Oh, poor guard. How many times did you beat somebody before that happened?
Jeremy says Jeremy said he was simply exiting his unit through a door.
Yeah, I
He
believe
could not see
Jeremy
the
though.
guard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most of those guys are hotheads. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I'm thinking like the coming days we'll read more about this. I'm kind of like hoping that other media will jump on it. I think if you make like a big enough stir, they will.
Oh yeah, this is big news. And we need to keep the whole Julian Assange and all the crew in the major spotlights, including Olabini, Chelsea Manning, Julian Assange, and pretty much the whole WikiLeaks crew, because the second they start disappearing out of the focus of the spotlight, then we start seeing more arrests,
Yeah. And the Chorus Foundation was also clear about this. They also made like a kind of like a statement about this, and I'm also going to read it. And it says that the U.S. government's blatant abuse of the grand jury process in this case continues a clear pattern of targeting, isolating, and punishing outspoken truth tellers and activists. We must stand up and say that enough is enough. We cannot allow the government to use fascist intimidation tactics to target, imprison, silence, and torture those who threaten their power. We must not let the government fracture us or our support for those who need us most, no matter how they may try to pit us against one another. And we must not allow them to sow fear and distrust in our communities. We must come together as one, united in our support for truth and transparency, and for those who have paid the ultimate price to bring it to us. From Chorus Foundation.
Yeah, it's very good. I agree with it, 100%.
Yeah. Because that has been the tactic they've tried to use against us. They have tried to divide, especially the anonymous surrounding this subject. They have used the smears, like you mentioned before too, that it was like a Russian asset and that he influenced the elections and all of these things. Then they have tried to call him a rapist. They have done a lot worse. They have literally silenced his entire communication when he was speaking out in favor of free Catalonia. After people literally did like a referendum and asked for their independence with a 90% vote, he spoke out in favor of this independence, and the next day he lost his entire communications.
Yeah,
not allowed to even use the internet anymore. Like, this is what is going on, and this is only because he had he still has like a voice large enough to actually talk back to the media. That's what they're afraid of, I think.
Oh God. Well, I can honestly tell you, I never thought Jeremy Hammond would have. I never thought he would have been called up for this. I didn't see that one coming.
I didn't either before 2018 when I saw that Yahoo article. I knew it was going to happen, and I also posted it in our different chats. I said wait and see, and a few months from now they are going to go to Jeremy Hammond, and they are going to try to use him. Now I know they're going to fail. I mean, this guy has been consistent. He's been fighting for our rights all the time, and he wasn't scared of it. He wasn't scared of the government. And I don't think they can intimidate him. I've got a good feeling about that. But yeah, I think it is still shocking that it actually happened, for sure. Yeah.
Oh yeah. The only they're not going to get a lip out of anybody they subpoena through WikiLeaks. The only buddy who would have ratted anybody out already killed himself. So. I don't know what the DOJ is thinking, by subpoenaing whoever they wanted to,
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I said, the United States Department of Justice is becoming more of a kangaroo court than anything else.
Yeah, it's politically motivated in this case too.
Oh yeah.
That's why I was actually I was actually in favor of him being extradited to Sweden because of that, because their extradition law has like a clear exception for politically motivated extraditions. So I think many didn't agree with that because they don't trust the Swedish government to actually keep him safe. But their law is very clear about it, where the UK law is kind of weaker with that. UK does allow it, and so with the UK you have to rule on other grounds. You have to defend him on other grounds.
You know what I don't understand is why, when Trump, 2015, when he was doing his campaign speeches, he was pro WikiLeaks. And I remember him, quote unquote, saying, WikiLeaks, gotta love them. You see the stuff they released on Hillary? Now, when Donald Trump is asked about WikiLeaks, he has no comment about it. He doesn't know who they are.
Yeah, it seems like
that's
Trump,
what he said.
yeah, like Trump was actually like fine to use them when they like when the information actually served him, but then when he no longer needs them, or he thinks he no longer needs them, he's going to say like, I have never heard of WikiLeaks. What is WikiLeaks? Like, it doesn't matter in my life, WikiLeaks. That's something like he said something like that, I think.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't get that part either. Like, just for listeners, I mean, WikiLeaks never spoke out in favor of Trump or Clinton. It was Assange in an interview with Democracy Now! Who said that this is taken out of context, but he said, like, in other words, like the choice between Trump and Clinton is choosing between cholera and gonorrhea. So,
yeah, it's like, which one's going to hurt him the least?
Yeah.
And I think the Americans have chose poorly. I mean, you guys could have wrote something else in, like Gary Coleman or something cool. Terminator. I don't give a fuck.
No, exactly. And even if you care about that, maybe you believe the story that like an outlet like WikiLeaks shows like a political side, you have to compare it to all the other media in America and in Europe and the rest of the world. Most of the media is actually really taking a side. They are usually giving opinions. They're usually having like biased articles. Yeah. So are you going to illegalize all media? Are you going to illegalize all journalists because they have like an opinion? They can have an opinion, and they can.
No, you can have an opinion, but you can't have an opinion that tells truth, and you can't do investigative journalism that points out the truths about the about the status quo, about the United States regime. If you expose them and you make them look stupid, then you're in trouble.
Yeah, it's like you can give your opinion, but you can't like put like sources behind your opinion because that's illegal. You can talk a lot of crap, but as soon as you put like a source behind it, you're in trouble.
How did you get this information? Did you hack it? Who gave it to you? You know what I mean? It's like,
how do journalists actually get their sources? Like, how did the Watergate scandal get exposed? How do in history get things exposed? How did people find out about the Nazis having camps and stuff, concentration camps? How did people find out about this? It was not because they actually said it and they were like open about it. It's because people found out about this stuff and then released it, whether from the inside or from people coming across it on accident. And they released this stuff. And in many cases, it's an insider. This insider who joins up with the army because he believes he's there to defend democracy and freedom. He wants to go to Iraq and believes the whole story, like, we're going to Iraq and we're going to defend America and freedom. And then suddenly finds out, like, but they're actually killing civilians. They're actually killing journalists.
Yeah, they killed two journalists, a cameraman and a journalist.
Yeah, and then you have to make like a decision. Are you going to choose for your own safety, or are you going to choose for the well-being of the entire world, the entire free world, so to speak? And then you make the choice, I'm going to fight for the people, and I don't care about what happens to me. I'm going to release this stuff. I'm going to get a powerful outlet like WikiLeaks to release it for me. And they publish it because they publish all the truth without limits, so to speak. And that is the choice you have to make. This is a terrible choice, but this is how journalism is done. This is how sources are done. And whether it is there are so many different methods to acquire information. The fact is, journalists use this information, and this has always been done in history like that. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and one other thing, and that's like saying like, we don't work for the government. The government works for the people. That's the thing. You have to be able to hold governments accountable for what they are doing.
Yeah, otherwise they just become monarch. Well, they just replace the monarchy for a puppet government. You know, that's basically what it is.
Yeah, and you elect them because of the story they like give you during their elections. And if the actual facts are different than the story they gave you about the whole freedom and democracy.
I mean, the way that things are going, you might as well just give whoever's in office a little crown in a wand, and just say whatever they do is right, because they have the right to rule and do whatever the fuck they want. That's basically what's happening around the world, you know?
Yeah, no, you're right. I do see what does give me some hope is that this subject is actually alive in the community so much. Also, this broadcast is being tweeted like crazy by people, and I'm glad to see that part. People are worried about it, not just because of WikiLeaks, but also because of what will they do to Jeremy? What are they threatening him with? It is good to see that all eyes are on them again. And we only have to, the people listening to this, what all that matters is for them to be able to be stopped. It matters that we have all eyes on them. We have to hold them accountable for every little thing they do. And we have to keep people aware of what they're doing. That's our only weapon we have against this. So we have to share this stuff. Mainstream media likely are not going to do this for us very soon. Are they going to have their whole bias stuff again and put in the whole weird stuff about rape and everything? And they're going to discredit Assange more. They're probably going to discredit Jeremy more.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're going to do that. They're going to call Jeremy a criminal and all that stuff. Criminal hacker for Anonymous.
Well, as Jeremy would say, that's just an ideology that, you know... Yeah.
At some point, you have to realize if these corrupt people are actually calling you a criminal, then it's actually like a compliment to you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like when Anonymous got labeled as a domestic terrorist in around the 2016 era. It was like, okay, I guess that was a compliment, you know.
Yeah, it's like a Pulitzer Prize in the activist world.
Call us what you want to call us, right?
Yeah. We accept your defamation, guys, really. Yeah.
Now they're labeling, well, I'm not going to go down that road. I'm not going to go towards the Antifa. I am not going to go towards the Antifa debate right now. I wasn't there.
Could you go there like real quick? The Antifa, it seems divided on this subject. There is a large number who actually do understand that this is actually somewhat of a fascist move from the governments. That the day you restrict the press, you're not talking about little Nazis on the street. You're talking about very powerful totalitarian people restricting free press and free speech from above. And this is actually, these are indicators of fascism, so to speak. If you actually care about the rise of fascism, these are indicators for it. This happened in other fascist regimes in the in history. and it is happening again. And I'm not going to say that these people on the top are actually fascist, but these are indicators, and you should be worried about it, because these are not your powerless Nazis on the street. These are people in power.
Yeah.
And like we we laugh about like flat Earth community or whatever, and flat earthers and stuff. But it would be a different story if flat earthers were in power and if they would be like running your presidency. So yeah, think about it, all these things which are going on. And I know you guys now I'm talking about the other part of like Antifa that hates WikiLeaks because they feel WikiLeaks was too much in favor of Trump and all these things. But you're talking about now an attack against free press in general, not just against WikiLeaks, because you're talking about legal precedents, what they are going to do, what they are deciding about one journalist, about one journalistic outlet, is going to be valid for all the other journalist outlets. This includes all left-wing, all right-wing outlets. You have to realize what you're dealing with. That's all I can say about it.
There's starting to be some movement picking up on the Jeremy Hammond support committee, who does have direct communication with Jeremy. Seems to be a lot of. Oh, let me see. Well, no. Let me see. Yeah, just in the last, it's picking up, but it's not out there, you know. Oh, here we go.
Okay, well.
Here we go. CNN article. I didn't know CNN had something on them. Okay.
Okay, well, we can.
Oh, this was published. This is published since we went on air. Okay, so it's starting to pick up.
Yeah, well, they should.
We got this before CNN, so.
Yeah, maybe they had these articles on draft and they're jumping in now.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking. We should mention the Courage Foundation. Jeremy Hammond is also a beneficiary of the Courage Foundation. The Courage Foundation made a very clear statement about this, and we also said it before on the show here already. They are behind the boat, and so you can say that is Courage Foundation directly representing Jeremy? No, but they are very close to each other. Jeremy is a beneficiary of them, and they raise support for him, and I don't know what CNN is writing about him. I mean, are you reading the article, Tyler? Or?
Oh, for me, no. I was just digging more.
Okay.
Who was saying what? It just says Jeremy Hammond, anonymous hacktivist, currently serving his 7th year behind bars. He's called to testify in a grand jury in the East District of Virginia, but does not plan to cooperate. He says, but does not plan to cooperate. A group representing him says. Right on, Jeremy. The development is an indication of the United States Department of Justice is exploring additional charges against WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange. In the statement, Jeremy Hammond's support committee said that our assumption is that the same grand jury that Chelsea Manning is currently being incarcerated for refusing to testify before. And then it goes into some stuff about Manning's background, Hammond's background. Hold on. They said it wasn't clear. It wasn't immediately clear how Hammond, who had minimal contact with the outside world since his arrest, could have incriminating information on Assange. Hold on, my work just texted me. What do they want? Sorry. Okay, well, that's cool for me. Hammond's case to give him a tool for parts hacking, blah, 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 blah. So they don't know. They basically know as much as we do. Probably a little bit less, to be honest. But yeah, do have a point. It says, how could... I don't live in Sacramento. I'm getting... I don't know. My phone is on some weird, Indian call lists all day. I have no idea what's going on there. been getting these spam phone calls that I owe the IRS money all day long.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and I traced the pool number to Broadcom, and then I called them earlier today and told them, like, you guys need to pull whoever's VoIP number is in your number pool, because I keep on getting called that I owe the IRS money from Indian agents, and they're committing a federal crime. Can you please just shut down their account, or I'll shut it down for them.
Yeah.
But anyway, but yeah, you know, CNN really doesn't know any more than we really do. Jeremy's not going to comply, so he's in Virginia now. I don't. What day is he scheduled to go up? Do you know?
Let me see real quick.
I don't think anybody knows
I'm
yet.
not sure. I'm reading real quick through the Course Foundation. They probably know most about it. They are saying that his release date was projected to come around mid-December of 2019, by the way. So that's very close.
Let me see the Sparrow Project. Let me see if they have a date. Does anybody have a date? Nobody has a date. Nope, no dates. Nobody knows. I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
lawyer knows.
I'm reading through Sparrow Media now. Sparrow Media is the source for the courage on that article.
Yeah, so he's no longer in Memphis.
See, that's what they like. I do see one lead already now at Sparrow Media. So our Sparrow Media says Hammond's prison release date was projected to come around mid-December of 2019, but because of his removal from the RDAP program and the summons to this grand jury, his time incarcerated could be extended by over 2 years.
Yeah.
So that is then probably what they are trying to intimidate him with the 2 additional years. That's not going to work, guys.
Yeah. If I were him, I'd be so pissed. I'd be so mad.
Yeah. Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah.
Wait, I thought he was getting out next week. He was supposed to get out in December. Holy fuck.
Yeah.
Holy fuck. Like I've heard stories, you know, where lifers, they're about to get out or they get offered parole, and then somebody does something stupid and they get locked up for longer. Like this is like the atypical situation that happens in prison that you don't want to happen to you, you know?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
It's going to get worse because now I see Sparrow Media is also saying this, that in bringing him against his will to the Eastern District of Virginia, the government has put an end to his participation in the RDAP drug program, effectively adding a year to his sentence. If Jeremy had been permitted to complete a 9-month program, he would have earned a 12-month sentence reduction. When he refuses to testify, his sentence will be prolonged indefinitely when he is punished with further incarceration for contempt of a court order to testify. Oh my God.
Oh, God. Well,
yeah, and Sparrow also says, like brave grand jury resistors before him, including Chelsea and Manning, Jeremy firmly believes that grand juries are repressive tools of the government, used to investigate and intimidate activist communities, and are abused by prosecutors to gain access to intelligence to which they are not entitled. So, yeah, he already spoke out kind of like against that grand jury thing.
Yeah, he's not going to testify.
No.
Oh, well. I mean...
She is being represented by attorneys Sarah Kunstler and Susan Kelman. We could ask them for more information. It's always like there's so much disinfo, right, from the media and all these places, and maybe we can try to get in touch with these lawyers and see what they have to say about it.
This whole double jeopardy thing is like, did somebody miss the fact that he's already been convicted for this? So you're trying to get information out of him. How? Because every piece of info that they want is in the case. You know? So I don't understand what else that they want. You know?
Yeah.
It's all right there.
No, sorry, I was reading something real quick. Yeah, then you're right. It's already there. What else there to give? They want him just to testify. They need like a witness or something, like a witness in person to actually. They think that makes their case stronger or whatever. But
it's not. Yeah, it's starting to look bad on their end because nobody wants to testify.
True. No, you can see like Chelsea openly went against them. Said like, I'm not going to do anything. Like,
let me see what Chelsea's still tweeting from prison. If people don't know, they have somebody repeating the stuff for them. Let me see. XY Chelsea. Let me see what Chelsea's saying. Nothing in the last 10 days. Just that she got all the letters and responded to them.
Oh yeah, that is also something that is really important for listeners to do. Just to keep mailing them to their because they are incarcerated. Chelsea Manning, Assange, Jeremy. Just keep mailing to them because that actually, for people being incarcerated, is like their only communication with the outside world, their only real communication with normal people, like not their family or lawyers or whatever. And so it matters that that you just talk to them and tell them like that you support them, and that really strengthens them a lot, because that is the motivation such people need to keep on fighting. They're not afraid of governments. They're not afraid of corrupt people if they know the normal people are with them. So, just Course Foundation, I think, has most of the addresses you can use.
This country's going to shit.
Yeah, yeah, but it's also happening. I mean, it's also happening in the UK. The UK is just as bad, or they're compliant with this stuff, unless they stop the extradition. Of course, it can still happen. The UK says no now. Like, fuck off with your corrupt USA government stuff. Then it will not happen. But for now, they seem compliant. So it's in the heart of Europe. It's also happening, and I don't see much resistance from other countries around it, and I don't see much resistance from the media. I don't see the European media is just as bad. They're not doing anything.
Yeah,
I don't even understand, because they're not realizing that it's going to like harm them too. Like,
yeah.
Is there any media going to be able to write about corruption in the
or WikiLeaks?
Yeah, like.
Yeah, that's
another thing.
Yeah, that's another thing that's been going on. It just seems to be dying out. Like nobody's been covering a lot of this stuff. You know, Before it was like almost every day you would see an article on Julian Assange or WikiLeaks. Now it's every other couple weeks, something.
Yeah, that's a tactic often used by the mainstream media, that they're trying to gain like control over the narrative, that they will publish a lot about it, and that people will start following them for the info, and then they make it like slowly die out, so there's no more coverage and people forget about it. That's what they think, but it's not going to work, because there is a huge activist community, and nowadays people get most of their information from the internet anyway. I mean,
yeah,
And mainstream media doesn't have the pull it has on TV, and it has on the internet. It doesn't have the pull on the internet. So, yeah. I'm not sure what else we should mention about this.
I can go on to the Hong Kong stuff, but
yeah, you could do that. Yeah.
So if you guys don't know what's going on in Hong Kong right now, there is for the last 13. Is it 13 weeks it's been going on? Is it something like that? I don't think it's been going on that long. Well, several weeks. Hong Kong has been fighting its extradition to extradite people to China, and it's bigger than that. It basically what they're fighting off is a precursor to a foreign invasion of Hong Kong to China. They're in a really bad spot, and you know what? Activists, street activists around the world should be looking at what the Hong Kong activists are doing as far as protests. This is something people should wise up to, because it seems worldwide the tactics haven't really changed, and so much more so that if you try to exercise your right, law enforcement agencies across the world use really aggressive tactics, shooting tear gas at you, beating you with the batons, using facial recognition software against you. It seems that these activists have really developed a whole new concept to activism, or at least strategies that we haven't seen before, and this is something that a lot of activists should wise up to in the long run. So much more so that I really congratulate everybody in Hong Kong that is standing up for their right, for freedom. For right there, they're basically fighting for their rights.
Yeah, and I was reading it. Actually, it started like around March already of this year.
Yeah,
but maybe like 13 weeks or something.
Maybe 13
really
weeks.
Gained,
yeah,
the biggest.
Yeah, I mean they've done. I heard a rumor somebody had one of the police had killed somebody. I can't verify that, but that was a rumor from yesterday. But the same tactics we saw in Standing Rock, they're doing, if not so worse, in Hong Kong. I don't know. I congratulate what they're doing. They're shutting down the airports. They're shutting down the roads. They're taking out facial recognition cameras. They're protesting. They're protesting all the time, despite the government's. They tried to arrest 2 people they thought were in charge of the movement, but then they shortly realized that nobody's really in charge of the movement, and this is the will of the Hong Kong people. And I always perceive justice. Justice is the will of the people. And if the will of the people don't want this, then that's justice.
Yeah. No. Exactly. Yeah. I don't know if everyone around the world actually knows the situation in Hong Kong, but because it was originally like a colony of the UK 150 years ago, and then they handed it over back to China in the 90s, and but Hong Kong actually. It's like an independent area. It has its own legal system, its own government. It has its own constitution, and it's called the Hong Kong Basic Law. And the Hong Kong Basic Law guarantees freedoms which are unavailable to the rest of China, and that is the right to protest, the right to a free press, and the right to freedom of speech. And that's what they're trying to defend.
And their own president isn't really helping them either.
No, of course, but yeah, I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but he would probably be that if he was defending them.
She was defending them.
Yeah, yeah. So that's what I mean. But China is such an oppressive government too. I mean,
well, now they're called Chinazis.
Yeah,
That's what they're calling them online, Nazis.
yeah. Well, it's fair to say, like, if you say these things about the USA, it is also fair to say, like, that there are some indicators for that fascist elements, but for in China too. So yeah, you can see these elements too. These are rising. So you can't go. I'm not going to say that you can call them Nazi. They're not using like the Nazis, Nazi ideology or whatever, like Nazi symbols. Neither does the U.S. government. But there are clear indicators. There is a list of the other totalitarian regimes do in history, and these indicators become visible. But you have to recognize them. And it is only people who dealt with living under fascist regimes or have like family who lived under fascist regimes who actually recognize these things. And I can say that on our panel we have several of such people. So yeah, we do recognize these things, and that's why we are among the first to speak out against this, and we will also continue to do this all the time.
What else is going on? If you think that you think it's just this is just a Hong Kong thing, I was counting how many protests are going on in the world. This is, I hate to say this, but we're living in an age where this is society's last stand for any sorts of rights, because the protests that we're seeing in Hong Kong, we're seeing in Europe, we're seeing in Africa, we're seeing in Asia. North America, South America, where people are trying to stand up to their governments, and this is a sign of the times that we are standing up for our freedoms and against our governments who are supposed to. I don't know. I'm not a pro-government person, but I currently think that we could live better without governments. But most governments around the world are turning totalitarian, and more and more are becoming rights are unequal, and this is going on around the world. It
is going on around the world. But people also draw hope from other protests, right? They see people going to the street in Hong Kong in such large numbers. They see yellow vests in France going to the street in such large numbers, and then they see protests in Puerto Rico and other places, and they draw hope from this. They see like, okay, there are people resisting. We can resist too. We can do something too. I mean, why are we different than them? And they will go to the streets too. So that's why you see it sparking up everywhere now. Definitely.
Yeah, when I heard that Algeria was protesting Russia, I didn't hear a lick of it until I looked into it.
No, I haven't. I haven't even heard about the entire situation, honestly. But no, you see it everywhere, and this is all for good goals. They want more. They want to just the freedoms. They want, especially like freedom of speech and freedom of press. These are and freedom of protest too, because that's the funny thing, that you see all these governments cutting down on these protests, trying to stop them with violence and stuff, and that already shows that all these governments have like the same feeling about protests. They don't really like the entire concept, it seems. Even though protesting something peacefully is actually a huge part of democracy.
Yeah, Sudan didn't think so. Yeah, they were shooting peaceful protesters for no reason, like last month. Remember that?
Yeah. Now the thing is, why are protests beneficial to democracy and they are not actually hurting government? And that is that peaceful protests, which are not directly aimed at destroying government, they're just aimed at creating a public opinion. They are like you're putting out the information you want the rest of the people to know, so that at the next vote or when there's the next elections, people know about this, and that people use these protests in their whole decision for what they're going to vote for. That's why peaceful protests are so very important to democracy. We don't have a billion-dollar media to do it for us. We have street protests.
Yeah.
And we have digital protests. Yeah. These are free. These things are free to organize. We can do this and we can actually speak out. So, and yeah, it's not anti-democratic. It is democratic. It is, yeah.
Yeah, I kind of came ill prepared for this show. I really didn't know.
Yeah, no, me too. I mean,
what else to talk about?
I woke up to reading all about the Jeremy thing, and I thought, like, okay, we have to be quick now before the mainstream media jumps in and makes this an entirely different story. So
yeah. Let me see. I gotta go soon. Should we just close out and do the show tomorrow or the next day after, or?
Yeah, we can see if we can do like a special tomorrow, or we can do like the big episode Thursday about this subject. We should try to get like either like one of Jeremy's lawyer in, or we should get like Jay in, or anyone who can give us like an informed legal opinion about the situation. I think.
Yeah, if we could get Jay in, that would be great.
Yeah. There you go. I'm going to talk to him now. We can ask him.
Yeah, I was gonna say my sister knows him in real life, but he doesn't know that I know him.
It's
a small world.
Yeah. He's very willing always to come on.
Yeah.
He's always short on time, but he actually he likes to always help us out. And
yeah. All right, I guess we'll roll with the credits, and we'll be back. We'll be back on Thursday at 7:00 Pacific time. All right.
I hereby declare this to be an unlawful assembly.